Hi you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Today I'm going to give you a tour of my colocasias, or some people call them elephant ears. And some of you may know that I started a bunch of elephant ears over winter, and I have quite a few outside in planters. I have none inside actually. The ones that I'm growing are just, I basically treat them as annuals. And I'm gonna give you a tour, give you some of my care tips and tricks that I use for these plants. So let's go ahead and get started. So here is one of my elephant ears, or colocasias. I bought a bag of 3 magnum size elephant ear bulbs, and then I bought a bag of 15 smaller bulbs, much smaller than the magnum size bulbs. And I just want to give you guys a tour of my elephant ears and then talk to you about some care tips. So in this black pot right here, there is only one magnum bulb. You can see that there are 3 growth points from that one bulb, and it makes this big ginormous plant here that you see right there. This elephant ear grows just like most of the philodendrons, where you get a new leaf from an old leaf. So if you see here, this is old, that's newer, this is newest, and then another leaf will come out of here, and that's kind of how they grow. You can see that there's a new leaf popping out right there. These leaves are huge, they're beautiful, I love them. I love the way they grow and span out like this. It kind of reminds me of an umbrella of sorts. It puts out a lot of shade from this canopy too. But these elephant ears over this way are kept in mostly shade. They get some indirect and some light during the day, but they mostly get direct light in the evening. So when it's getting ready to be sundown, or like that evening light, which is very strong, they seem to handle that pretty well. But for the most part of their day, they are in dappled shade with some direct light in the evening and then some direct light in the morning. That's east, so light does come through from the back for these guys. In this pot, I have 1 magnum ear and then 2 of the regular size elephant ear bulbs. And I'm going to show you, try to give you a glimpse of this inside of this pot. Let me go back here. So as you can see, like there's just so much in here. Look at this. And some bulbs you might get just 1 growth point, and then some bulbs you might get several different growth points off of 1 bulb. The more growth points, the more fuller your plant's gonna look. 1 growth point, is, it looks good even with just 1 growth point, because they're constantly putting out new leaves. They put out new leaves probably, I say for 1 plant, probably puts out a new leaf a week, and that's a lot for a plant to do. As you can see, this plant kind of circles around. We have leaves facing out this way and leaves facing out that way. So let me come back around to the front, and I did underplant these with caladiums. Caladiums can do, a lot of the newer varieties can do a lot more sun, so they get some direct sun, as you can see right there, but they get mostly shade. There's some cannas in there, and they get that direct sun right there, but they're mostly in shade, and they're doing okay. It's not their optimum like light, but they're getting some sun. So let me just back up so you can see how big this plant is. It is so huge, and I love it in this white pot. Just give you a look around the side. So it really just comes all the way out like that. Like it's gorgeous. I love this. And these ears over here, they moved to the sun, You know, a lot of them were growing and going towards the front, but they, you know, they do like sun, and they will move towards the sun, as most leaves will. So it's just gorgeous. I'm just get you that view. See, and that's from the back. And you see how there aren't any leaves coming directly back this way because they like sun. They want to be in sun, but direct sun is okay for them. They will manage in direct sun as long as you're meeting their water and nutritional needs. So you see the other one down there, all his leaves are facing that way because that's typically where they get their sun from this direction. So let's head over to my other giant elephant ear. As you can see these guys here, I have 3 pots that I set up, and I planned for these before the season started. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I did it, and I really loved the outcome this year. So I have these 2 pots on the outside. They have creeping Jenny, cannas, some yellow cannas, yellow flowering, and some orange flowering cannas in there. And then they also have hibiscus. Now the hibiscus was, I would say, not my best idea, only because they get a lot of shade from the elephant ears. However, they are still blooming and doing okay. They seem to tolerate the level of water that the elephant ears need and the level of feeding that the elephant ears need, because I have to treat all the plants in the pot the same. So I decided to, you know, use what I do for the elephant ears for everything that has an elephant ear in the pot. So this planter in the center, we call her Big Bertha. This is 1 magnum ear and then 1 regular size elephant ear in this pot, along with some caladiums and another hibiscus and a canna. But look at the size of this. I mean, it is so tall. It's huge. It gives off like Feed Me Seymour vibes. Like every time I come out here, this thing is just bigger and bigger and more in your face, like crazy. So in the 2 planters on either side, there are regular elephant ear bulbs in those for sure. It got to a point where like I had so many regular elephant ear bulbs and then not enough space to put them in. So I ended up putting some in some random containers. I've got some in the front. Sorry, I let that car drive by. But I've got some elephant ears in some front containers, and then I've got some in like some random single containers, just because there were just so many. There were 15 bulbs, so I didn't get to, I don't know. I planned for several containers, and then there was just too many. So I don't know next year if I'm going to grow as many. We'll see. Or I'll just have to buy more pots, which there was a pot shortage this year. I didn't really get to find all the things that I really wanted. But anyway, so care tips. This elephant ear trio, they are in full sun for probably 6 hours a day. It's shady in the morning, like early morning, and then once it turns noon, you get that high noon sun, and they are adapted to that. Okay, so these ones that are back here, they are adapted to dappled shade, some indirect light, and then bright afternoon light. If I were to move these over here into this full sun spot, they would burn. So that's something that you want to consider, is decide where you want to keep them, what type of light, because they do well in shaded indirect light spaces, but they also can handle direct sun if you're meeting their watering needs and their nutritional needs. So let's talk about water. I water all of my potted plants especially pots with elephant ears in them every single day. They need to be watered daily. If you miss a day of watering, they will wilt. They will wilt and you will know it. They will make you feel terrible because all their leaves will go down and you will feel awful. So first thing in the morning, after you had your coffee, come out, water your elephant ears, water all your pots, water your hanging baskets. Everything actually needs to be watered, especially if it's in a pot or a basket. It needs to be watered every day when the heat is high. Now there are exceptions. If it rains, if it's raining all day, or if you get a good enough rain, you don't have to water. If we've had a couple days where it's rained for like 5 to 10 minutes, I still water. And even if like rain is due for the afternoon, I still water in the morning, because sometimes the weather can change at a drop of a hat, and sometimes it's called for rain in the afternoon and I'll skip my morning watering and then we never get the rain. So I always water anyways, and I water first thing in the morning just because that's easiest for me. I read that you shouldn't water during when it's super, super hot outside, midday sun. However, I don't really pay attention to those rules. I water whenever it's convenient for me, and that is first thing in the morning. So let's talk fertilizer. Now I'm going to show you guys one more elephant ear, but the fertilizer that I am currently using, and I use it on all of my potted plants, is fish emulsion. And last fall actually, I was able to grab up probably like 3 to 4 jugs of fish emulsion fish emulsion on clearance. Like they were $1 or less. I cannot fully remember, but they were super, super cheap. So I grabbed a couple jugs. I think I took everything that they had, and I still have jugs that I have not opened yet. But that's what I water with. So I follow the instructions on the fish fertilizer, which is right here. And then I use this pitcher. So this is how I measure for watering. And it's based off of, because these are large plants, so I use the large indoor plants directions. Sorry, hang on. This is user error. Okay, so you see here, let me get that focused, where it says large indoor plants during growing season. This is what I use, okay, based off of this 1 gallon pitcher, okay? So that's how I water all of these pots. And there are some other measurements here, which these elephant ears I treat them as annuals based off of my area, because they do not like temps below like 50 degrees. I think 45 is the lowest. So what I do is dig them up in the fall and then dry them out and then store them. And what I'll do in winter, I'll probably wait until about February or March, probably March, because it was kind of overwhelming having so many things going at once. I think I'll wait till March and then go ahead and wake up the elephant ears. If you have any questions about what I talked about today, the care tips, the lighting, watering, fertilizing, just let me know. I purchased my fish fertilizer from Walmart end of season last year, so it was pretty cheap. So yeah, that's basically all I do to care for these guys, is just tons of water. They love water. They love being fertilized. And the more you fertilize and the more you keep up with their watering, the bigger they will grow and the happier they will be. Alright guys, see you in the next video.